she whispered nervously, slide in slowly. You feel too big, she said to the lonely billionaire. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit ***, subscribe ***, and turn on the *** notification bell *** so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. ***, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. ***, thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. Have you ever wondered if a simple act of kindness could change your life forever? Well, today, I have a story that shows just how powerful a small gesture can be. A lonely billionaire finds himself unexpectedly changed by someone who didn't even know who he was. Let's see how it all started. As Emma made her way through the bustling streets of New York City, she couldn't shake the feeling of curiosity that had settled deep in her chest. The night before, she had helped a stranger, a man who seemed so down on his luck, with the last $10 she had to her name. She never expected him to reach out to her, let alone ask to meet again. She found herself thinking about him more than she wanted to admit. He wasn't just some random guy who needed help, there was something about him, something different that piqued her interest. Her phone buzzed, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a message from him, Liam. She had almost forgotten about the exchange, but here it was again. Hi Emma, this is Liam. I just wanted to thank you once more for your help last night. Would you like to grab coffee with me sometime? I promise it'll be my treat. The message was simple, yet it carried a weight of sincerity that made her pause. She could almost hear his voice in her mind, soft and genuine. Emma took a deep breath and replied, agreeing to meet. The next day, they agreed on a time, and Emma found herself waiting at the same cafe they had planned. The day was crisp, the wind blowing gently, as she nervously fiddled with her phone. A part of her was anxious. This was the first time she'd ever agreed to meet a stranger after something like that. She wasn't the type to trust easily, and yet, something about Liam made her want to take a chance. The cafe door opened, and in walked Liam, his dark hair neatly styled, and he wore a sharp, yet simple outfit. He looked nothing like the man she had helped last night. He looked polished, confident, and comfortable in his own skin. Emma stood up, her heart racing. He smiled warmly when their eyes met. Hey Emma, he said, his voice calm and friendly. Thanks for meeting me. It's really good to see you again. She returned his smile, trying to shake off the nerves. Of course, she replied. I'm glad you reached out. They both sat down, and as they talked, Emma found herself relaxing. Liam was easy to talk to, and their conversation flowed naturally. He asked her about her life, her work, her hopes and dreams. She was surprised by how much she found herself sharing with him, even the things she usually kept hidden from others. I've been working at a diner, she said, taking a sip of her coffee. It's not glamorous, but it helps with the bills. I've been saving up to open my own art studio someday. Liam's eyes lit up at the mention of art. That sounds amazing, he said. I've always admired people who can make art out of nothing, who see the world differently. Emma smiled shyly, not used to people showing that kind of interest in her dreams. It's just a small dream, she said, shrugging. But I think if I keep working hard, I can get there. Liam leaned in, his expression more serious now. I believe you can, he said. I really do. Emma felt her heart flutter. He wasn't just being polite, there was a sincerity in his words that made her believe him. The conversation continued, and for a moment, Emma forgot about everything else, her worries, her debts, her struggles. It was just her and Liam, two people connecting over coffee and conversation. But as the conversation turned to Liam's life, Emma began to feel a small tug of uncertainty. He had mentioned working in tech the night before, but he was vague about the details. She couldn't help but wonder if there was more to him than he was letting on. So, she asked cautiously, what exactly do you do in tech? Liam smiled, but it was a bit guarded. I work for a company that builds software. It's not as exciting as it sounds, but it pays well. His answer was vague, and Emma didn't press the issue. But she couldn't help feeling like there was something he wasn't telling her, something important. As they finished their coffee, Liam stood up, pulling his jacket back on. "I really enjoyed this," he said. "Thank you for giving me the chance to get to know you better." Emma smiled, standing up as well. "It was nice to meet you, Liam. I didn't expect this to be so nice." He laughed softly. "I know the feeling. It's rare to find someone genuine." Before she could respond, Liam reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card, handing it to her. "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out," he said. Emma looked at the card, her eyebrows raising. The name on it was familiar, Liam Parker, CEO of Parker Tech. Her breath caught in her throat. She had heard that name before. Parker Tech was one of the leading tech companies in the city. He was a millionaire. She looked up at him, her mind racing. You're Liam Parker?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Liam nodded, his smile now a little sheepish. "I didn't want to tell you at first. I didn't want you to think I was just another guy with money trying to impress you." Emma was stunned, her heart pounding. She had been talking to a billionaire all this time, and she had no idea. But despite the shock, something in her chest softened. He hadn't treated her differently. He hadn't shown any signs of being the powerful CEO that everyone in the city knew. He was just Liam. The man she had helped. The man who now wanted to help her. Emma smiled, her nerves slowly easing. "I don't know what to say," she admitted. Liam chuckled. "You don't have to say anything. I just wanted to be honest with you." As they parted ways, Emma felt a mixture of disbelief and hope swirling inside her. Her life was about to change, and she wasn't sure if she was ready. But there was something in Liam's eyes that told her this was only the beginning of a new chapter. The next few days passed in a blur for Emma. She couldn't stop thinking about Liam. Her mind kept replaying their conversation over and over again, especially the moment when he revealed his true identity. Liam Parker, CEO of Parker Tech. She had never imagined that the man she had helped, someone who seemed so ordinary, was actually one of the most successful and powerful people in the city. But despite his wealth, he hadn't acted any differently around her. He had been kind, genuine, and, to Emma's surprise, he didn't treat her like she was just another person in need. She had helped him, but in return, he seemed to want to help her. That thought lingered with her as she continued her busy routine. Between working at the diner and picking up extra shifts, Emma hardly had time to herself, but she found herself checking her phone more often than usual, half expecting another message from Liam. She was nervous, unsure if he really meant what he had said about helping her, or if it was just a polite offer that he had forgotten by now. She couldn't quite decide what to feel, but something deep inside her told her to trust him. One afternoon, after another long shift, Emma's phone buzzed. It was Liam. "Hi Emma, I know you've been busy, but I wanted to follow up and see how you're doing. I'd love to help you with your art studio dream. Let me know if you're free sometime this week to talk about it." Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Was he really serious about helping her? Emma stared at the screen, her fingers hovering over the keyboard as she tried to figure out what to say. She had never been one to ask for help, and the idea of someone, especially a billionaire, wanting to invest in her dream was almost too good to be true. But she had nothing to lose. She took a deep breath and typed back, "I'm free tomorrow afternoon if you'd like to meet." The next day, they met at a small cafe, the same place where they had first connected. Emma arrived early, her nerves getting the best of her as she sipped her coffee and stared at the door. She kept wondering if this meeting was really going to happen, if it was all just a dream. But when Liam walked in, looking as confident and polished as ever, she knew this was real. He gave her a warm smile as he sat down across from her, his presence filling the room with an unspoken energy. "Hey, Emma," he greeted her. "I'm really glad we could meet up again." She smiled, feeling a little more at ease this time. "Thank you for reaching out," she said, trying to sound calm, but her voice betrayed the excitement she felt. "I wasn't sure if you were serious, but here I am." Liam chuckled, leaning in slightly. "I'm serious, Emma. I really believe in your dream. I've seen so many talented people who just need a little push to get where they want to go, and I want to be that push for you." Emma's heart raced as she listened to him speak. He wasn't just offering financial help, he was offering his belief in her, something she had never received from anyone before. It was as if the world around her had shifted, and she was suddenly standing on the edge of something amazing. "So, what's the next step?" she asked, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside. Liam smiled, his eyes warm and sincere. "We can start by finding you a place to work on your art, and I can introduce you to some people who might be interested in helping you get started. We'll take it one step at a time, but I want you to know that I'm here to help." The words sank in slowly. She had dreamed of opening her own art studio for so long, but the idea had always felt so out of reach, like a fantasy. Now, Liam was offering to help her make it a reality. It was overwhelming. "Thank you," Emma whispered, her voice breaking slightly. "You have no idea how much this means to me." Liam reached across the table, placing a hand on hers. "I know it's a lot to take in," he said softly. "But you're not alone in this. I'm here to support you." Emma squeezed his hand, feeling a surge of gratitude. For the first time in what felt like forever, she allowed herself to believe in the possibility of a better future. The rest of the meeting passed in a blur as they discussed the details of how Liam could help. By the time they finished, Emma felt like a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. Liam wasn't just a billionaire offering charity, he was a person who genuinely cared about helping her succeed, not because of who she was, but because he saw something in her that she had yet to fully see in herself. As they said their goodbyes, Liam gave her one last smile. "I'm looking forward to seeing where this takes you," he said. "And remember, I'm always just a phone call away." Emma watched him leave, her heart full of hope and excitement for the future. This wasn't just a chance for her to build her dream, it was a chance for her to believe in herself. And that, more than anything, was the most powerful gift Liam had given her. As days passed, Emma couldn't help but feel like she was living in a dream. Liam's offer to help her with her art studio was too good to be true, and yet, every time she saw him, it felt more and more real. They continued to meet regularly, talking about her plans, her ideas, and how to move forward. He introduced her to people who could help her set up her studio, and slowly, but surely, she began to see a future for herself that was different from the one she had imagined. She still worked long hours at the diner, but the weight of her financial struggles seemed a little lighter now that she had something to look forward to. She found herself feeling more hopeful than she had in years. But despite everything falling into place, a part of her still held back. She wasn't sure what it was, maybe it was the fear of failure, or the fear of accepting help from someone who had so much more than she did, but she couldn't shake the feeling that there was something she wasn't facing. One afternoon, as she sat in her small apartment going over sketches for her studio, Emma's phone buzzed. It was Liam again. "Hi Emma, how about we grab dinner tonight? I've been thinking about our last conversation, and I want to discuss some more ideas with you." Emma smiled at the message. It had become a routine for them to meet up, and each time, she felt more comfortable around him. Still, she couldn't help but wonder if there was something more to their relationship. He had been so generous, so kind, and she had never met anyone like him before. They had built a rapport over the past few weeks, and Emma found herself opening up to him more than she ever had with anyone else. She typed a quick reply, agreeing to meet him at the same restaurant they had visited before. Later that evening, as Emma walked into the restaurant, she saw Liam already sitting at their usual table, his sharp suit contrasting with the warmth of the restaurant's cozy atmosphere. As soon as he saw her, he stood up, smiling. "Hey Emma," he said, his voice warm. "You look great." She blushed slightly, feeling a flutter in her chest. "Thanks, Liam," she replied, sitting down across from him. "I've been meaning to ask, how's everything going with the studio plans?" Liam leaned back in his chair, his eyes meeting hers with a mix of excitement and pride. "Things are moving along," he said. "I've got a few people lined up who are really excited to help you get started. It's all about putting the right people in place to help you succeed." Emma felt a surge of gratitude. "I can't believe this is really happening," she said, her voice a little shaky. "I never thought I'd be in a position like this." Liam reached across the table, placing his hand over hers. "You deserve it, Emma," he said softly. "I've seen the way you've worked so hard, and I know you'll make it happen." The moment was quiet, but there was an intensity between them, a connection that neither of them had acknowledged out loud. Emma felt her heart race as she realized just how much she had come to depend on Liam, not just for his help with her career, but for his presence in her life. It felt like a weight had been lifted from her shoulders, but at the same time, she didn't know how to navigate the growing feelings she had for him. She couldn't help but wonder if he saw her the same way. They continued their dinner, the conversation flowing easily as they discussed more about her studio and what steps she needed to take next. But as the night wore on, Emma found herself growing quiet. There was something she needed to say, something she had been holding back. She looked at Liam, his face soft in the candlelight, and felt her chest tighten. "Liam, I need to be honest with you," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Liam's eyes softened as he leaned in closer. "What's going on, Emma?" he asked gently. She hesitated for a moment, gathering her thoughts. "I don't know if I can accept all of this," she said. "I feel like I'm relying too much on you. You've been so generous, but I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of your kindness." Liam's expression was calm, but there was a hint of concern in his eyes. "Emma, you're not taking advantage of me," he said firmly. "I want to help you. I believe in you, and I want to see you succeed. Don't doubt that." Emma felt a knot in her stomach loosen, but a part of her still felt uncertain. "But what if this is just too much? What if I can't live up to your expectations?" Liam smiled softly, his hand still resting on hers. "Emma, this isn't about expectations. It's about supporting you, no matter what. You don't have to prove anything to me. I'm here because I believe in you, not because of anything you owe me." His words hit her like a wave, washing away the doubts that had been swirling in her mind. For the first time in a long while, Emma felt like she could breathe. She didn't have to carry the weight of her struggles alone anymore. And for once, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, everything was going to be okay. As they finished their meal and walked out into the cool night air, Liam offered her his arm, and she took it without hesitation. The night felt different now, lighter somehow, and Emma couldn't help but smile. Maybe this was the start of something beautiful, something she hadn't expected but had always dreamed of. And for the first time in a long time, she was ready to embrace it. As the weeks passed, Emma's life slowly began to change in ways she had never imagined. The art studio she had dreamed of for so long was no longer just a distant hope, it was becoming a reality, piece by piece. Liam had kept his promise, introducing her to the right people and helping her secure a small space for her studio. He had even offered to fund some of the initial costs, though she hesitated at first, still struggling with the feeling of not being able to accept such generosity. But Liam insisted, reminding her that this was her chance to follow her passion. She couldn't afford to let fear hold her back anymore. Emma poured all her energy into getting the studio ready. Every day after her shifts at the diner, she worked late into the night, painting walls, arranging furniture, and dreaming of the future. It wasn't easy, and there were times when doubt crept in, but she kept pushing forward, knowing that this was her one shot at building the life she had always wanted. Throughout it all, Liam was there. He checked in regularly, offering support and encouragement, but never pushing her to move faster than she was comfortable with. She had begun to realize that, despite the enormous difference in their lives, Liam wasn't just helping her because he could, he truly cared about her and her dreams. But as Emma's studio took shape, she found herself growing increasingly conflicted. Her feelings for Liam had grown deeper than she had expected. At first, she had been wary of getting too close, unsure of whether their relationship was based on genuine connection or just gratitude. But now, it was clear to her that what they had was something more. There was something about him, his kindness, his patience, the way he listened to her without judgment, that made her feel safe, valued, and seen in ways she had never experienced before. But she was also scared. Scared of how much she had come to rely on him, scared of the possibility that her feelings might not be returned in the same way. Scared that if she let herself fall for him, it would only end in heartbreak. As much as she didn't want to admit it, she knew she had to confront the truth. One evening, as she was finishing up at the studio, putting the final touches on a painting she had been working on for days, her phone buzzed. It was Liam. "Hey Emma, do you have a minute? I was hoping we could talk." Her heart skipped a beat. They had been spending a lot of time together, but this message felt different, as if there was something important he wanted to say. She quickly texted back, agreeing to meet him at a nearby cafe. When she arrived, Liam was already there, sitting at their usual table. He looked up when she walked in, and the smile on his face made her heart flutter. "Hey," he said, standing up to greet her. "I'm glad you could make it." They sat down, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence between them felt heavy, charged with unspoken words and emotions. Finally, Liam broke the silence. "I've been thinking about a lot of things lately," he said, his voice soft but steady. "About us, about you, about everything you've been working so hard to build." Emma's heart raced as she listened, unsure of where this conversation was heading. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Liam took a deep breath before speaking again. "I know this might sound sudden, but I think it's time for me to be honest with you. I developed feelings for you, Emma. And I need you to know that it's not just because I'm helping you with the studio. It's because of who you are." Emma's breath caught in her throat. She hadn't expected him to say that, though deep down, she had suspected it. Still, hearing the words out loud sent a wave of emotion through her. "Liam," she started, her voice shaking, I don't know what to say." He reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "You don't have to say anything," he said gently. "I just needed you to know, because I care about you. I care about everything you're doing, and I want to be here for you. Not just as someone helping you with your career, but as someone who wants to be a part of your life." Emma's heart swelled as she looked into his eyes. She had been so afraid of letting herself be vulnerable, of letting herself love again after all the struggles she had been through, but now, in this moment, everything seemed to fall into place. "I care about you too, Liam," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "I've been afraid that if I let myself care too much, it would ruin everything." He squeezed her hand, his thumb gently brushing over her knuckles. "I understand," he said softly. "But you don't have to be afraid. We'll take this one step at a time. I'm not going anywhere." The words were simple, but they meant everything to Emma. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she could let go of the fear that had been holding her back. As they sat there, holding hands and talking about their hopes for the future, Emma realized that this was only the beginning. She had a dream, a vision for her life, and now, she had someone by her side who believed in her, someone who saw her for who she truly was. And for the first time, she wasn't alone in that journey. The weeks that followed felt like a whirlwind for Emma. She was busy with her studio, putting in long hours to get everything just right. Liam remained a constant presence in her life, offering advice, support, and even taking a hands-on approach to some of the logistics. But with every passing day, the feeling between them deepened. What had started as a professional relationship based on mutual respect was slowly turning into something more. Emma found herself thinking about Liam constantly, wondering what it would be like to share her life with someone who believed in her so completely. She had never had that kind of support before, and it made her feel like she could conquer anything. But as the studio began to take shape, Emma couldn't ignore the nagging voice in the back of her mind. Was she just getting caught up in the excitement of it all? Was she relying too heavily on Liam, or worse, was she falling for him because of the way he helped her? She had been so independent for so long, and now, with Liam's constant presence, it was hard to tell where her feelings for him began and where her gratitude ended. Despite these doubts, Emma couldn't help but feel like she was meant to be with him. he made her feel seen in a way no one ever had before, and every time they spent time together, her feelings grew stronger. One evening, after spending a long day at the studio, Emma received a message from Liam. "Hey Emma, there's a charity gala coming up next weekend. I'd love for you to be my date. I think it could be a great way to celebrate the progress you've made with the studio." Emma smiled at the message. She had been to a few charity events in the past, but nothing like this. A part of her felt nervous, but another part of her couldn't deny that she was excited. She had come a long way, and this felt like another step forward. She quickly typed back, agreeing to go, her heart racing with anticipation. The night of the gala arrived, and Emma found herself standing in front of her mirror, adjusting the dress Liam had helped her pick out. It was elegant and sophisticated, the kind of dress she never imagined she would wear. She had spent the entire day getting ready, but now, as she stood there, she felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. This was more than just a night out, it was a moment in her life she had dreamed of for years. She wasn't just going to the gala as a guest, she was going as Liam's date. Her heart fluttered at the thought. When Liam arrived to pick her up, she was taken aback by how handsome he looked. He was dressed in a sleek tuxedo, his hair styled perfectly, and as soon as he saw her, his smile grew wider. "You look stunning," he said, his voice full of admiration. Emma blushed, feeling a rush of warmth at his words. "Thank you," she replied softly, her nerves settling just a little. As they drove to the event, Emma couldn't help but notice how at ease she felt with Liam by her side. There was a comfort between them that hadn't existed before, a sense of trust that grew with each passing moment. When they arrived at the gala, Emma felt a wave of awe wash over her. The venue was extravagant, with towering chandeliers and elegant decorations. The guests were all dressed to the nines, and Emma couldn't help but feel a little out of place at first. But as Liam led her through the crowd, introducing her to people and offering reassuring words, she began to feel more confident. Liam made her feel like she belonged in this world, and as the evening went on, Emma found herself enjoying every moment of it. The night was filled with laughter, conversation, and a sense of celebration. Liam was by her side the entire time, his hand gently resting on her back as they moved through the room. She was grateful for how easy he made everything, how natural it felt to be with him. By the time the evening was drawing to a close, Emma felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had never imagined herself in this world, and yet, here she was, not just surviving but thriving. The charity gala had been a huge success, and as they left the venue, Liam turned to her with a smile. "I'm really proud of you, Emma," he said softly. "You've come so far, and I know this is just the beginning for you." Emma smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you, Liam," she replied, her voice full of emotion. "None of this would have been possible without you." Liam paused for a moment, his expression serious but tender. "You've done all the hard work, Emma," he said. "I just helped you find the right people, the right resources. The success is all yours." As they walked back to the car, Emma felt something shift between them, something more than just friendship, more than just gratitude. There was a quiet understanding between them, an unspoken connection that neither of them had addressed directly but that both of them felt. For the first time, Emma allowed herself to believe that maybe this was it, maybe she had finally found the love and support she had always wanted. The night ended with Liam dropping her off at her apartment. He gave her a soft, lingering smile. "I'll see you soon," he said. "And Emma, I'm glad you're in my life." As the door closed behind her, Emma stood in the hallway for a moment, her hand resting on the doorknob, her heart full. She had never felt so certain about anything in her life. This was just the beginning, and whatever came next, she knew she wouldn't be alone. As the weeks went by, Emma's life continued to evolve in ways she had never imagined. The art studio she had dreamed of for so long was now a reality, and every day brought new challenges and opportunities. She found herself immersed in the work, pouring her heart and soul into every painting, every brushstroke. But despite the excitement of her growing success, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. Liam had been a constant presence in her life, helping her in ways that went far beyond the studio. He supported her emotionally, encouraged her when she doubted herself, and celebrated every milestone with her. But as close as they had become, Emma felt a lingering hesitation. She had never allowed herself to fully open up to someone, and with Liam, it was different. He made her feel seen, understood, and appreciated in ways she had never experienced before. But she was still afraid of getting too close, afraid that if she let herself fall completely, it would only end in heartbreak. One evening, after a long day at the studio, Emma sat alone in her apartment, staring at the paintings around her. The walls were lined with her work, each piece a reflection of her journey, her growth, and her dreams. She had come so far, but there was still a part of her that felt incomplete. It was in that moment that her phone buzzed. It was a message from Liam. "Hey Emma, I was thinking about you today. How about we grab dinner tonight? I think we need to talk." Emma's heart skipped a beat. The words were simple, but they carried a weight that she couldn't ignore. She had been avoiding this conversation for weeks, but now, she couldn't put it off any longer. She quickly typed a response, agreeing to meet him. Later that evening, they met at a quiet restaurant, the soft glow of candlelight casting a warm, intimate ambience over their table. As Emma sat down across from Liam, she couldn't help but notice the seriousness in his eyes. This was more than just another dinner, this was a moment of reckoning, a moment where they both needed to face the truth about their feelings. "Emma," Liam began, his voice gentle but firm, "I've been thinking a lot about us, about everything we've been through together. I know things have been moving quickly, and I don't want to rush you, but I need to be honest with you." Emma's heart raced as she listened, unsure of where this conversation was going. "I care about you," Liam continued, his gaze never leaving hers. "I care about you more than I ever thought I could. And I don't want to hide it anymore. I want to be with you, Emma. I want to see where this goes, but I need to know if you feel the same way." The words hung in the air between them, heavy with emotion. Emma's mind raced as she tried to process everything he had just said. She had always known there was something between them, something undeniable, but the fear of letting herself fully open up had held her back. Now, sitting across from Liam, she realized that she couldn't deny it any longer. She cared about him too, more than she was willing to admit. But the question was she ready to take that leap? "Liam," she began, her voice shaking slightly, "I care about you too. I've just been scared. I've been so focused on building this dream, on making everything work, that I didn't allow myself to think about what I wanted, or what I needed." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "But I can't keep pretending that I don't feel something for you. I do. I feel it every time we're together." Liam reached across the table, taking her hand in his thumb gently brushing over her knuckles. "You don't have to be scared, Emma," he said softly. "We'll take this one step at a time. There's no rush. I'm here for you, and I want to be with you, whatever that looks like." Emma's heart swelled as she looked at him, the walls she had built around herself starting to crumble. For the first time in a long time, she allowed herself to fully embrace the possibility of love, of connection, and of sharing her life with someone who truly understood her. They sat in silence for a moment, just holding hands, the weight of their conversation sinking in. It was as if a shift had occurred, a turning point that would change everything for both of them. Emma knew that this was the beginning of something new, something beautiful, and for the first time in a long time, she felt ready to embrace it. As they left the restaurant, Liam pulled her close, his arm around her waist. "I'm glad we talked," he said, his voice low and reassuring. "I'm really glad you're in my life." Emma smiled, feeling a sense of peace settle over her. "Me too, Liam. Me too." As they walked through the streets of the city, Emma felt a sense of hope for the future that she hadn't felt before. With Liam by her side, she knew that anything was possible. Together, they could face whatever came their way, and she was ready to take the next step. She wasn't alone anymore, and that made all the difference. In the weeks that followed, Emma and Liam's relationship grew stronger, and life began to settle into a new rhythm. The studio was thriving, and Emma's confidence in herself continued to grow. She no longer felt like an imposter in the world of art, she belonged here, and it was all thanks to Liam. He had become her rock, not just in business but in life, offering support and encouragement every step of the way. It wasn't just about the studio anymore, it was about them, and what they were building together. But even as their bond deepened, Emma couldn't help but feel a small tug of anxiety. She had always been fiercely independent, and she still struggled with the idea of needing someone else, even though she knew in her heart that Liam wasn't just there to support her, he was there because he cared about her, and he always had. One afternoon, as they sat together in the studio, talking about a new art project Emma had in mind, Liam noticed the subtle shift in her energy. He looked up from his laptop, his eyes gentle but concerned. "Emma," he said softly, "you've been a little distant lately. Is everything okay?" Emma hesitated, glancing away before meeting his gaze again. "I'm fine," she said, but the words didn't feel entirely true. "I guess I've just been thinking a lot, you know." Liam put his laptop down and stood up, walking over to where she was standing by the easel. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, his voice full of care. Emma took a deep breath. I still feel like I'm holding something back. I'm not used to relying on anyone, and even though you've been so amazing, I feel like I don't know, afraid of letting go." Liam smiled, reaching out to gently take her hand in his. "Emma, you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to do everything on your own anymore." He paused for a moment, his expression soft. "You have me. And I want to be here for you. Not just with the studio, but with everything." Emma's heart fluttered at his words. She had known deep down that Liam was everything she needed, but the fear of fully opening herself up still lingered. She had never let anyone in this much before, and it scared her more than she cared to admit. "I don't know how to stop being afraid," she whispered. "I've spent so long doing everything on my own that it's hard to let go of that control." Liam squeezed her hand, his gaze unwavering. "You don't have to give up control, Emma. You can still be the person you've always been, strong, independent, driven, but you don't have to carry it all alone. I'm here to share the load." The sincerity in his voice hit her hard, and she felt a lump form in her throat. Maybe she had been holding on too tightly, maybe she had been afraid of being vulnerable, but in this moment, she realized that she didn't have to be afraid anymore. "I want to let you in," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "I just need to learn how." Liam pulled her into an embrace, holding her close as if to reassure her that everything would be okay. "We'll figure it out together," he said, his voice calm and reassuring. "There's no rush. I'm not going anywhere." Emma closed her eyes, letting herself relax into his embrace. For the first time in a long time, she felt the weight of her fears begin to lift. She didn't have to face everything alone. She had Liam, and that was enough. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity as the studio continued to grow, but Emma found herself more at ease, more open to the support Liam offered. They spent more time together outside of work, taking walks in the park, cooking meals together, and sharing quiet moments where the outside world seemed to disappear. As their relationship deepened, Emma's confidence in herself grew as well. She wasn't just building a business anymore, she was building a life with someone who truly understood her, someone who loved her for who she was. One evening, after a long day of working at the studio, Liam took her out for dinner at a quiet little restaurant they had discovered a few weeks ago. As they sat across from each other, enjoying the warmth of the evening and the soft glow of candlelight, Liam reached for her hand. "Emma," he said, his voice full of sincerity, "I've been thinking a lot about us. About what we're building together. And I know this may sound a little forward, but I want you to know that I see a future with you. I want to be with you, in every way." Emma's heart raced as she looked at him, the words she had been too afraid to say now hanging between them. "I see a future with you too, Liam," she replied, her voice full of emotion. "I'm just learning how to be open to it. But I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever comes next, with you by my side." Liam smiled, a soft, loving smile that made Emma's heart swell. He leaned across the table, his eyes locked onto hers. "Then let's make that future happen, together," he said, his voice filled with certainty. As the evening wore on, Emma felt a deep sense of peace settle over her. She had found something she had never thought possible: love, support, and a future full of possibility. And for the first time, she felt like she could truly let go of the fear that had held her back for so long. She was ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that she wasn't alone. With Liam by her side, she knew that anything was possible. As Emma and Liam continued to build their lives together, things only seemed to get better. The art studio was thriving, and Emma's confidence had grown beyond what she had ever thought possible. What started as a dream of a small space to create and share her work had transformed into something much bigger. She was no longer just a struggling artist, she was a force to be reckoned with her own vision, her own brand, and the support of the people who believed in her, especially Liam. Their relationship, too, had blossomed into something real and beautiful. What had started as a professional connection, a friendship based on mutual respect, had evolved into love, deep and unwavering. Every day, they found new ways to support each other, not just in their work, but in their personal lives. There were still challenges to face, of course. Emma knew that life wasn't always going to be smooth sailing, but she felt ready for whatever came next. She had Liam by her side, and together, they had proven that they could conquer anything. One Saturday afternoon, after spending a productive morning at the studio, Emma and Liam decided to take a break and enjoy some time together. They went for a walk in the park, their hands intertwined as they strolled through the vibrant autumn leaves. The crisp air and golden sunlight made everything feel so peaceful, so perfect. It was in the park that Liam stopped, pulling Emma gently to a quiet spot near a pond. He turned to her with a soft smile, and Emma's heart skipped a beat. "Emma," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "There's something I've been meaning to ask you, something I've been thinking about for a while." Emma felt a flutter of nerves in her stomach, but she smiled, sensing that this was a moment that would change everything. "What's that?" she asked, her voice soft. Liam took a deep breath, his eyes locking with hers. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life. I know we've been through a lot, and I know that we've both had our share of struggles, but I can't imagine my life without you in it. You make me better, Emma. And I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Emma's breath caught in her throat as the weight of his words settled in. She had known, deep down, that Liam felt the same way she did, but hearing it out loud was something else entirely. "Liam," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "I don't know what to say." Liam smiled, taking her hands in his. "You don't have to say anything," he said softly. "But I would be honored if you would marry me." Emma's heart soared, and a rush of warmth flooded her chest. She hadn't expected this moment, but now that it was happening, it felt like everything had led up to it. She looked into Liam's eyes, her own filled with tears of joy. "Yes," she whispered, her voice filled with certainty. "Yes, I will marry you." Liam's face lit up with a smile that made Emma's heart skip a beat. He pulled her into an embrace, lifting her off her feet as he spun her around. The world seemed to disappear in that moment, leaving only the two of them, wrapped in the love they had found in each other. They stood there for a long time, just holding each other, feeling the weight of the promise they had just made. In that moment, Emma realized that all the fears and doubts she had carried with her for so long had been worth it. She had found her person, the one who believed in her, the one who had supported her dreams and her journey, and now, they were going to build a life together. Their future was brighter than ever before, and Emma knew that with Liam by her side, there was nothing they couldn't overcome. As they walked back toward the car, Liam's hand firmly in hers, Emma felt a deep sense of peace settle over her. She had come so far, from a struggling waitress with a dream to a woman on the verge of marrying the man she loved, a man who had helped her realize that she was worthy of everything she had ever dreamed of. And as they drove away, Emma looked out at the city they both loved, knowing that the next chapter of their lives was just beginning. The road ahead was filled with endless possibilities, and she was ready to embrace them all with Liam by her side.